The topic of discussion today is on the issue of money, right? Now, money is something that Allah Azza wa Jal, or rather, the acquisition of money through business and work and whatever have you, something that Allah Azza wa Jal, He legislated. Because that process is necessary for your and my survival, right? I need to work to be able to earn some money, to be able to, take care of my needs and facilitate for my family members. That money, if you got some money left over, you put it back into the community, you help and you feed those who are not able to acquire that money themselves, right? So there's nothing wrong with the concept of money. There's nothing wrong with the concept of money. But the way you get that money can be problematic. And what you do with that money can also be problematic. But money in and within itself, there's nothing wrong with it. So I'm not here to tell you money is bad and don't try and get no money and you shouldn't be one who acquires money. I'm not going to say that to you. Because wealth is a blessing from the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It can also be a punishment and a test, but it's a blessing. It can be a blessing if used in the correct way. Nor am I here to really talk to you about what you do with the money being haram. Are you spending that money on haram? I'm not here to talk to you about that. Today I want to talk to you about the way you get that money. How do you acquire that money? Do you acquire it? Do you acquire that rizq of Allah Azza wa Jal in a way that's pure? Or do you acquire it in a way that's filthy? And what are the problems that will take place and manifest if you take that money in a way that's impermissible? And what will happen if you take it in a way that's pure? Before I go into a hadith that I'm going to mention inshallah ta'ala, because the whole talk today is going to revolve around one hadith, I want to mention an ayah to you, because I want to contextualize this discussion. This discussion is not a discussion of a little bit haram change here and there. This is a discussion of the akhirah. It's a discussion based around the purpose of your existence. And you will see why this ties in later as we go through the hadith. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. Allah said that Allah, He never created mankind, nor did He create the jinn for any reason, for any purpose, in any way, shape or form, except one. And that is that you worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How do you worship Him? You worship Him alone. You don't take no idols besides Allah. You don't take no peer besides Allah, no saints besides Allah, no prophets besides Allah. Allah, you worship Him alone subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why you were created. So now obviously the smart person, after understanding that, what's he going to do? He's going to do worship. The absence of worship, for you, what does that mean? It also means the absence of paradise in the next life. Like in the person who worships Allah, he will then acquire Jannah. If he refrains and he refuses to not worship Allah, then Allah will take that person into the hellfire. He'll be dragged face first to the hellfire. Does that make sense, brothers and sisters? So that's why we were created. Now what I want to show you today is that there is a correlation. There is a connection. There is a link between worshipping Allah Azza wa Jal and acquiring money and food and rizq in a halal way. And there is a connection between acquiring money in a haram, filthy way and what? Not worshipping Allah. The two are related. Does that make sense? Without any further ado, let's go into the hadith narrated by Imam Muslim and Imam An-Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala. He included it in his 40 hadith. Where the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, إِنَّ اللَّهَ طَيِّبٌ وَلَا يَقْبَلُ إِلَّا طَيِّبًا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is pure. Allah is tayyib. He's pure in any way, in every way, shape, or form. He's pure in terms of His names. All of His names are pure. He's pure in terms of His attributes. He's pure in terms of all of His actions. Everything that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does is pure. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what He legislated, His ahkam, His rulings, everything He told you to do and not to do, He's pure in that. In other words, the whole discussion pertaining to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, His essence, His actions, everything, it's purity. It's purity. He's safe from any deficiency. He's safe from any shortcomings. He's complete and pure. And because your Lord, brothers and sisters, because your Lord, Allah, because your Lord is pure, لا يقبل إلا طيبة. He will not accept anything from you. He will not accept anything from you. He will not accept it unless it is pure. He will not accept anything unless it is pure. Now, what makes an action pure? What makes an action pure? Two things. Number one, that the action is sincerely done for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's done purely for Him. You don't do it to show off. You don't do it to feel a sense of conceitedness about yourself. Look at me, I'm something, look at me. You don't do it because you want people to hear about what you've done after. You do it for Allah's sake. And that's the hardest to do. You know why? Because there's nothing in it for you. If you do something purely for Allah's sake, you can't, so one of the ways to do an action purely for Allah's sake, I'll give you an example, is one that's done in private. One that's done in private. And the action that you do in private is very hard because you don't gain anything from it. You don't gain no, thank you, mashallah. You don't gain no Facebook statuses or Twitter statuses or, no retweets for you. Look, mashallah, this brother's doing some amazing, you don't gain none of that because it's private, it's between you and Allah. You don't get paid for it. You don't get nothing, no fame for it. You've done it privately. And the one who's sincere, even when he's doing actions in public, he's doing them purely for Allah's sake, as if he was doing it in private. He gains nothing from the action. Does that make sense? So that's the first thing. If the action you do it to show off for someone else besides Allah, is it pure anymore? Allah considers this to be impure. Now in it has come what you call minor shirk. Good. The second thing that makes the action pure is that the action is in accordance to the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The action is done how the Prophet did it, when the Prophet did it, why the Prophet did it sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You follow him sallallahu alaihi wasallam in how he carried out this action, how he did this thing. Does that make sense? So then these two things, if they are present, they render the action pure. If they are absent, they render the action impure. Allah will accept it from you if you come with these two. But now we have a problem. We have a problem. We have a problem. Because some of us, we do sins. Some of us, we do sins. Some of us, we do a lot of sins. Sometimes we have sins in terms of the money that we acquire. Sometimes it's sins that have got nothing to do with money. It's got nothing to do with selling drugs, fraud, selling alcohol, riba, interest-based contracts and clauses and mortgages, and it's got nothing to do with that. It's just sins. You've got a problem. You know why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said something in the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, إِنَّمَا يَتَقَبَّلُ اللَّهُ مِنَ الْمُتَّقِينَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He accepts what? Only from those. إِنَّمَا. Allah said, إِنَّمَا. This shows Allah doesn't accept anything from anyone except they have one characteristic. Who is it? مِنَ الْمُتَّقِينَ. The ones who are coming with? The ones who are coming with fear of Allah. The ones who are coming with piety. And fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has levels. The basic level is that you stay away from that which is haram. Because you're scared Allah's punishment might take you. So you place a shield between you and the haram. But then a level up from that is that you even stay away from the things that Allah dislikes. They're not haram, but He dislikes them. Then there's a level even above, is that you stay away from things that are mubah, they're permissible. Allah, He doesn't like them or dislike them, but you stay away from it. You know why? Because it may take you towards the haram. For example, going to the supermarket or going to the mall and chilling out. Is it haram to go to the shops? Go to the shopping center, is it haram to do that? No, it's permissible. Like a person knows, if I stay there for too long, what's going to happen? It's fitna all around me, it might take me. So he even lessens the amount of times he has to go. What will he or she do? They'll call Tesco, they say, listen, drop it to the house. They'll drop it to the house. Because the level of taqwa, the level of piety, the level of fear is that high. So now, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Inna Allah tayyib, the Prophet said, Inna Allah tayyibun, wa la yaqbalu illa tayyiba. Allah is pure, and He doesn't accept anything except that which is pure. He doesn't accept anything that which is pure. Then one of the things that we realize based on the ayahs, إِنَّمَا يَتَقَبَّلُ اللَّهُ مِنَ الْمُتَّقِينَ, that Allah, He also does not accept an action from a person who's not pious. A person who's coming with what? Sins and sins and sins. So now you come and now you want to do khair. But you're in two worlds. Daytime you're in the masjid with the brothers, Salaamu Alaikum Akhi. Huh? Nighttime you're on Snapchat and you know you're preying the girls that you shouldn't be preying. And you know you're creeping into the DMs of those boys, my sisters, if you listen, that you shouldn't be creeping into. And that's very dangerous. Because you're not min al-muttaqeen. You're not from those who are pious, then are you? Rather, you are from those people who are playing around with Allah. The people, you've made them greater than Allah. In the daytime, what do, bro? Salaamu Alaikum, ya'ni. Akhi, that's for the people. 5 times a day in the masjid you pray. For the people. But when it's just you and Allah and you're secluded in private, what do, bro? What do you do? Akhi, wallah, you watch pornography, waliyadu billah. In front of the people, some of the kids, what do? They respect their parents. And people are like, oh, what good kids. When you're alone with mom, you talk back to her. These actions are not being accepted. And I'll tell you another hadith of the Prophet ﷺ to show you how scary this is. The hadith narrated in the Sunnah Ibn Majah, rahimahullah ta'ala, where the Prophet ﷺ said that the people are going to come on the day of judgment. And they got deeds that are the size of a mountain. They got deeds that are the size of a mountain. And all of those deeds are going to become what? Nullified. Haba'an manthura. They're going to become scattered particles. They're going to be destroyed, those deeds. They're going to be nullified, broken down, zero, zilch. Now, Sahaba radiallahu anhum ajma'in, they asked a very important question. Are they Muslims? Are they not Muslims? Why did they ask that? Because the people who get their deeds nullified are the kuffar. What did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say? لَإِنْ أَشْرَكْتَ لَأَحْبَطَنَّ عَمَلُكَ. If you have done shirk, Muhammad, had you done it, I would have made all of your actions zero. I would have destroyed all your actions. So then now, Sahaba confused because only the kuffar, the mushrikeen, they're the ones whose actions go zero. A Christian can give away his house to charity. Is it going to be accepted on the day of judgment? It's going to become a big fat zero, bro. Because the basis, the foundation, which is La ilaha illallah, is missing from this kafir. Does that make sense? So then now, the Prophet ﷺ responded. He said, no, rather, they are Muslims. Not only that, they pray like you. They do hajj. They fast. These are people that do righteous actions. Bro, some of us here ain't done hajj. Some of us don't pray the night prayer. They do. But why is it the deeds are being nullified? Why is it that's not being accepted? Why is it becoming zero, zilch, nullified? Why is that happening? Why? Because the Prophet ﷺ said that when they're alone, they do the filthiest actions. They do the filthiest deeds. They do the most disgusting, despicable. A'udhu billahi minash shaitan rajim. They do whatever. Our brothers and sisters, when you're in the darkness, don't forget that the one who created the darkness can see you. And don't be a person who you place the people higher than Allah. Some people, wallahi, they will not watch certain filthy things on the internet because they have a pet in the room. It's like, oh, my pet's looking at me. So they move the pet out of the room. Sometimes there's a disabled person in the room. You wouldn't do things like that in front of a disabled person. But you do it in front of Allah. So you made Allah lower than an animal. You made Allah lower than a disabled person. Did you do that really? So fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in public and private if you want your deeds to be accepted. Then we go to the rest of the hadith. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, after mentioning that, what did he say? He said, إِنَّ اللَّهَ أَمَرَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ بِمَا أَمَرَ بِهِ الْمُرْسَلِينَ. After he mentioned that, because we're on the topic of purity. So now the Prophet is going to go into the issue of rizq, money, halal income, halal food. Because it's all about purity, right? So first we start off by Allah is pure. Then Allah only accepts pure. What's purity? And it is only the pure one, the people who are pious, who Allah accepts from. Now let's get on to the actual point that we wanted to actually discuss. إِنَّ اللَّهَ أَمَرَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ بِمَا أَمَرَ بِهِ الْمُرْسَلِينَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He commanded the believers to do something that He also commanded the messengers to do. This is important now. Because this is not just something that's specific for you guys. Allah told the messengers to do this as well. And then the Prophet mentioned 2 verses from the Quran. Ya ayyuha rusul. Allah said, "O messengers, كُلُوا مِنَ الطَّيِّبَاتِ وَاعْمَلُوا صَالِحًا." Eat. Allah is telling the messengers, eat. مِنَ الطَّيِّبَاتِ. Eat from things that are pure. Eat from things that are pure. وَاعْمَلُوا صَالِحًا. And do righteous actions. And do righteous actions. So, كُلُوا مِنَ الطَّيِّبَاتِ. Eat from that which is pure. This can mean 2 things. 2 things. There are 2 ways. 2 things that you need in order for you to eat which is pure. Number 1, the thing that you eat and you put into your mouth, or the job that you do by means of which you acquire rizq, in and within itself is halal. So me, this is water, right? I'm drinking the water. Is water halal? So this is what? This is min al-tayyibat, from the angle of what? From the angle of its essence. Its essence is pure. But then there is another way that I have to make sure I have met in order for this to be pure. I have to have acquired it. I have to have taken it. I have to have obtained it through a way that is permissible. Pay attention. The water is halal in within itself. But if the water belongs to Mr. Wavy, and I grab it from him and steal it from him, is it halal for me to drink it? Is this min al-tayyibat? Is this from the things that are pure? It's from things that are impure. It's filthy right now. Okay. What about, I didn't steal anything from Mr. Wavy. I didn't steal nothing from him. But let's just imagine, actually I don't want to use him for this example because he's a very good brother, Allah Barik, but let's just imagine we've got a guy here, we've got a little shaitan here, one of the Iblis's offsprings in the human form, and he's a drug dealer. And I buy from him. I don't steal, I buy from him some drugs. Is that pure? Is that pure? But I never stole it. What makes it impure? Go on. But why is drugs bad? Someone said it. The essence of drugs is bad. Do you understand what I mean when I say essence? The actual thing itself. The water in and within itself is pure. The drugs in and within itself are bad. So then when I buy something, or when I eat something, when I put it in my stomach, when I put it in my pocket, it has to be halal, the thing, and the way I bought it, the way I took it, the way I owned it, the way I possessed it, it has to be allowed in the Sharia. It cannot be through deception. It cannot be through cheating. It cannot be through stealing. It cannot be through riba. It cannot be through what? Rishwa, bribery. It can't be through these things. It has to be in a way that is allowed. So now a person works a job and the job is haram. The job is haram. With the job he goes and he buys, he goes to chicken and chip shop. He gets some peri-peri, lemon and herb, because he's not Asian, he can't take the spice. So what does he do? He eats it. But he's working in the bank. He's working in an insurance company. He's working in a way where he knows he's doing haram. He's working for a record label. He's promoting a club. It's an Instagram influencer that promotes haram things online. Right? These things now, what do? It makes the food he's eating haram. Why? Because the way he's acquired it is through filth. The way he acquired it is through evil. He acquired it in a haram way. Are you with me? So then when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Ya ayyuha rusul, O messengers, kulu min at-tayyibat, eat from that which is pure. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling the messengers 2 things. The thing that you eat and drink, make sure it's pure. Don't eat no pigs, no dead corpses, carcasses of animals, right? Nothing that's slaughtered in other than Allah's name. No intoxicants, no alcohol, nothing haram. And also, that's just half of the purity. The other half of the purity is how how you came to buy it, how you came to procure it. And can I just mention as a side point, and this is why seeking knowledge is so important, is that how will you know that the transaction that you engage in is permissible if you never studied Islamic finance at the basic level? You never studied Kitab al-Buyur. You never studied the types of transactions that are impermissible and not allowed in our Sharia. You know, Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu would not allow anyone to come into the marketplace to buy or sell. You think it's just if you want to start a business? It's even if you want to go to the shop and buy something. He said he would not allow anyone to come to the marketplace to buy and sell anything. Why? If he did not know the basics of Islamic transactions. He said because the person would definitely fall into riba, would definitely fall into interest. Somehow, some way. Wallahi, I've seen it. There are brothers who, wallahi, they really are good brothers. They really fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They really do. But they don't seek knowledge. And they're doing business, making money. They never studied Islamic finance ever once in their life. And then when you look and you say, Akhi, wallahi, your business has riba in it. He says, what do you mean riba? I never took no loan, I never took no mortgage. Akhi, riba is deeper than that, Akhi. Riba comes in different ways. It comes in different ways. This is riba right here. And then what happens? Now what does he do with his multi-million-dollar company? Is he going to give it up for Allah's sake? Very few will. So it's better that you start to seek knowledge, brothers, at a very, very, very early age. And I heard Ustad Abdul Abbas, he comes here and he teaches in this masjid. He's a graduate from the University of Medina. You should benefit from him. Ustad Hudayfa's here. He's from the masjid in Oldham. And he also has classes in Hyde. So you guys have classes locally. You guys are not. There's some place in London, people are dying. Where are the classes taking place? It's happening here. But no one turns up. So inshallah ta'ala, who's going to make an effort to come to the classes? Put your hand up. Put your hand up. You're in the house of Allah, so don't. That's it. There's a commitment now. Allah's watching. Angels have written it. Put your hands up. Don't go back on your word. You're going to be questioned about it on the day of judgment. So you better be here, inshallah ta'ala. We'll have the announcements made for the classes one more time at the end, because I know some of you didn't pay attention at the beginning when they were being mentioned. Alright? Good. So inshallah ta'ala, back to the ayah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, eat from that which is pure. Then after that, what did Allah say? وَأْمَلُوا صَالِحًا. وَأْمَلُوا صَالِحًا. Do righteous actions. Why do righteous actions? Can you do righteous actions if you don't have what? If you don't have? Brothers and sisters, what I'm going to explain to you is very deep right now. Pay very close attention. Can you do righteous actions if your body's weak? So you need to eat, right? Huh? Can you do righteous actions if your body's weak? Can you fast if you're weak? So a person who didn't take care of his diet by eating healthy gets diabetes. Can they fast now? If they got severe case of diabetes, they can't. So you need to eat food and healthy food in order to be able to worship Allah. When you don't eat, or for example, you eat too much. Can you pray Taraweeh? Nah, you can't tell. I'm finished, bro. I'm finished. So the point is, you need food, the right amount, the right kind of food, the healthy kind of food. You need it in order to be able to worship Allah. So it makes sense. Allah is saying to the prophets, "Kulu min at-tayyibat." Eat from that which is pure. Wa'malu salihah. Worship Allah. Why it's important? Because what do we say? What was the reason you were created? What was the reason you were created? So you could worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now pay attention. Here's where it gets interesting. If a person doesn't eat pure, they eat from haram, i.e. the thing itself is haram. Drugs, cigarettes, alcohol all day. He's eating haram, pork, this, that, blah, blah, blah. Riba, he's putting his riba money, stolen money into his stomach. He's eating all day haram. His job is haram, everything's haram, right? This person, or he acquired it through haram, means this person will not even be able to do righteous actions. They will not even be able to do righteous actions. Eating haram, working haram money. It is an obstacle between you and worshipping Allah. It is an obstacle between you and obeying Allah. It is an obstacle between you and fulfilling the purpose for which you were created. And if you don't fulfill this purpose, my beloved brothers and sisters, you will go to the hellfire. May Allah protect you. May Allah save you and me and all of the Muslims, ameen. But this is not a joke. Hellfire is not a small place. The Prophet ﷺ said, A stone was thrown into the hellfire. Tens of thousands of years prior. I think the hadith was 70,000 years if I'm not mistaken. The throne was thrown into the hellfire. And the Prophet said the stone just now touched the bottom. That's how big hellfire is. That's how massive the hellfire is. That 70,000 years a stone was falling, 70,000 years later it dropped. And what did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say? Allah said, I'm going to fill up the hellfire with the human and the jinn. That massive place, 70,000 years it takes for one stone to drop. Allah said, I'm going to fill up the hellfire with that place. I'm going to ram it packed full. To the point where hellfire is satisfied. So brothers, that's very scary. My sisters, that's very scary. You need to make sure you eat halal so that you can do halal. And I'll tell you a story to show you what comes as a result of eating halal. There was a man from the Salaf called Mubarak ibn Waddah al-Hanzali. Mubarak ibn Waddah al-Hanzali rahimahullah ta'ala. And he was a gardener. He used to work in the garden of a very rich man. And in this garden there used to be pomegranates. So the owner of the garden went to his guy, Mubarak, and he said to him, bring me the sweetest, you know when it's a hot day, you want something sweet, bring me the sweetest, juiciest pomegranate, bring it for me. So Mubarak, he tried his best, he went, he picked up a pomegranate, he brought it to the master, he opened a pomegranate, ate it, spat it out. He said, what is this? He said, I told you to bring me what? To bring me the sweetest, the tastiest, the juiciest pomegranate, and you bring me this? Do you not know what a juicy pomegranate is like? He looks at him and he says, I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? You've been in this garden, you've been working here, your job is to work with the pomegranates. My garden's filled with pomegranates. How is it that you cannot bring me and you cannot identify a pomegranate that's sweet, that's juicy? He looks at his master and he said, the reason I don't know is because I never once in my life, I never ate one. The master's confused. Don't you have lunch breaks? Don't you have breaks? You're in a garden of pomegranates. Why have you not eaten a pomegranate? Do you not like these pomegranates? He looks at him and he says, you never once gave me permission to eat it. That man was shocked. He said, wow. You never once gave me permission. Yes, he's been working there. He never ate it once. Why? Because it would have been haram. See, the pomegranate is what? The pomegranate is pure, inner within itself. But he would have acquired it through a way that is haram. It would have been stealing. But how many of us, it wouldn't even come to mind. You wouldn't even think, bro, it's not that deep. I work here, like, it's not that deep. The man was shocked. And the man realized this man standing in front of me is a righteous man. He said, I'm going to marry you to my daughter. You want to get married to me, brothers? Let the uncles in the masjid see you make halal money, bro. Let them see you eating halal chicken, bro. Let them see you eat some halal chicken, akhi. Uncles, realize, inshallah ta'ala. Get a job in a chicken shop. Don't ever eat a single chip. Unless the owner tells you. And hopefully he'll marry you off to his daughter. Any uncles that own chicken shops? Pizza shops? Come on, there's a couple of restaurant owners here, I know. They're saying, listen, I'm not marrying my daughter. None of you guys. I do not these, bro. I'm playing. The point of the matter is, my beloved brothers and sisters. The man married him off to his daughter. And then they had a son. Have you ever heard of a man called Abdullah ibn Mubarak? Put your hand up if you've heard of a man called Abdullah ibn Mubarak. From the greatest scholars of the Salaf. From the greatest of scholars who ever walked the face of this earth. That was his son. What is one of the benefits we take from that? It's not just that you'll be able to do righteous actions when you eat halal, but your children that will come out from you Allah will make them pure. Allah will make them pure. There was a brother in America, he used to, in America, it's a bit different. Like, here the Muslims are a bit more, you'd be shocked. I know, it looks like the Muslims are in a bad place here, in America, in a very bad place. The average righteous guy who prays 5 times a day, go to the masjid, he will own a shop in which they sell alcohol. Have you ever heard of a 7-Eleven? Have you had a 7-Eleven? That's common in America. So basically this guy, this brother, he owned a shop in which he sold alcohol and hot dogs are served. He never drank the alcohol himself, he says it's for the kuffar. But it's haram, of course, right? He sat down one day, he realized his mistake and he said, this is haram for me. I am not allowed to do this. He made tawbah and he lost all his money. He struggled financially for years. Eventually he had a daughter. He thought to himself, I lost all that money, but Allah gave me a daughter, alhamdulillah. His daughter was 3 years old. And by the age of 3, she had memorized 2 juz of the Quran. Juz Amma and Juz Tabarak. From Nas to Tabarak alladhi biyadihi al-mulk. How? Some of us, we wonder why our children are acting a certain way. Brothers, wallahi, we gave them haram to eat. We fed our children haram with our own hands. And those of you young brothers, pay attention. You're going to have children one day. My young sisters, you're going to have children one day. Don't throw your children into the hellfire. Don't cultivate your children upon that filth. Some people, what? They are cultivated. They are nourished in haram. Wallahi, very scary hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. He said, the body, the jasad, the lahm, the meat, the flesh, that sprouted min as-suhd, from haram. The seed, the child, the flesh that grew, the human being that grew out from haram. And nar, the fire, it has rights over it. The hellfire, it has a haqq over you. The same way your parents have a right over you, right? That they can take you and pull you out whenever they want. The hellfire, it has a haqq over you. It has a right over that flesh. No. You ate haram. You grew up in haram. You were raised in haram. Of course, if one's parents make money out of haram and it's not your fault and you didn't do it intentionally, that's not your fault. But the reality is that a lot of the time, the children, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Sometimes it falls very far. It falls very far. It falls all the way in Mexico. You think this child is different, Allah barik. But a lot of the times, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, so don't destroy your children like that. The next ayah that the Prophet mentioned in the hadith was, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, O you who believe. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, kulu min at-tayyibati mimma razaqnakum washkuru lillah. The next ayah, because remember at the beginning of the hadith, what did the Prophet say? Allah commanded the believers the same thing He commanded the messengers. So now we just had the ayah. Allah told the messengers, O messengers, do what? O messengers, do what? Eat from that which is pure and worship Allah. Then He said an ayah where Allah told the believers to do the same thing. O you who believe, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, Kulu min at-tayyibati mimma razaqnakum. Eat from that which is pure, that Allah has given to you. Eat from that which is pure. And then what was said after that? Washkuru lillah. And be grateful to Allah. Be grateful to Allah. And how does one manifest gratitude? What did Allah say to Dawood alayhi salam? His family. He said, "I'malu ala Dawood shukra." O family of Dawood, do good. Sorry. O family of Dawood, do shukr. You think shukr is a word that you say, huh? Someone says, you're not grateful. Be grateful to Allah. Does that mean you say, thank you Allah? Is that what it means? It means more than that. I'malu ala Dawood shukra. It means do actions, a'mal. Do things. Salah is an action. Qiyam is an action, night prayer. Obedience and dutifulness to your parents is an action. Sadaqah, charity is an action. Zakat is an action. Umrah, Hajj is an action. Seeking knowledge is an action. Implementing knowledge is an action. Transmitting and conveying knowledge is an action. Do actions, show Allah, Allah, I'm grateful. Again, you don't eat the halal, you're not going to be able to be grateful. You're not going to be able to worship Allah. You're not going to be able to do righteous actions. And not only that, إِنَّمَا يَتَقَبَّلُ اللَّهُ مِنَ الْمُتَّقِينَ. Allah is not going to accept from you if you're doing those sins, because He only accepts from those who are pious. Does that make sense, my beloved brothers and sisters? Do you understand what I'm saying? I haven't finished the hadith, and I don't want to go on too long. It is a very hot day. It is a very hot day, and I've gone on for about 36 minutes. And that 36 minutes, for me even, and I'm the guy talking, it actually felt like I went on for an hour. For you guys, it must be a lot worse. So I'm going to stop here. The next part of the hadith, inshallah, I'm going to finish it off in Leicester. When we go to Leicester, what day were we in Leicester? Saturday, I think, right? So we're going to, the tour, the Matthew tour we're doing is going around. So it would be nice if you guys, look, we came to visit you all the way up in Manchester. You can meet us halfway in Leicester, inshallah ta'ala, next week Saturday, and we'll finish the rest of the hadith bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. But I will say one thing to you, my beloved brothers and sisters. I will say one thing to you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took a qasam, He took an oath. Allah said, وَفِي السَّمَاءِ رِزْقُكُمْ وَمَا تُوعَدُونَ. Allah said, I swear. The wow is wal qasam. Allah said, I swear. Allah said, I swear. I take an oath that in the sky is your rizq. Your rizq, your provision. Brothers, Allah took an oath. Sisters, Allah took an oath. He's going to provide for you. It's there. No one's going to go hungry. No one's going to go broke. Don't worry. You will be provided for. You will. Your money will come. That rent money will come. You'll be able to pay off those bills. You'll be able to cover those debts. That money will come. Allah said, I swear. It's there. Do you know what Imam Hassan al-Basri said in this ayah? Imam al-Hassan al-Basri, he said, destruction upon you. Allah is swearing and taking an oath, a qasam, and saying your rizq is there. And destruction be upon the one who didn't believe Allah when He said it. Who was the one who didn't believe it? The one who said, listen, akhi, how else am I going to provide for my family? These guys, so many times I meet brothers that are selling drugs. They tell me, what? How am I going to pay off the bills? Who's going to pay the council tax? Who's going to bring food on the plate? Who's going to take care of my mum? Allah is going to take care of your mum. Allah's going to help you have that food in your plate. Allah's going to give it to you. He didn't believe Allah when He said, وَفِي السَّمَاءِ رِزْقُكُمْ. The one who takes out mortgage, who takes out loans. Brothers, wallahi, haram money, it destroys people. Wallah, I've seen it with my eyes. We're suffering from possession, huh? Jinn possession in our community. We are not very possessed. I'm joking, don't. Slightly, I believe half the people in the room are possessed. Most, honestly, it's just me. It's just my induction, based on my experience. Half people in the world are possessed right now. So that might be a bit of an exaggeration, but there are more people that are possessed more than you know. And I'll tell you one primary reason. Look what Allah Azza wa Jalla said in the Quran. He said, الَّذِينَ يَأْكُلُونَ الرِّبَا. The ones they eat riba. They eat haram money. Huh? House on mortgage, huh? Credit card, paying interest. Even signing a contract that has riba in it. You take what? You go to the Apple store, you get 12-month interest free. 12-month interest free. Akhi, on the 13th month, he's charging you interest. That's haram. You go to DFS for a sofa. New couple gets married. They buy a new sofa. Don't worry, bro. You see the brother with a beard in DFS signing a contract. This is 0% interest free. This is where you need to seek knowledge, akhi. This is where you need to go to those transactions. This is where Umar said, you will fall into riba if you don't know. Because you need to know that the contract in which it's written that you may have to, under certain circumstances, pay riba. For example, the 13th month, the 28th month, the 100th month, the 1000th month, the 1,000,000th month. The whole contract is cursed. So وَالَّذِينَ يَأْكُلُونَ الرِّبَا, the ones who they eat the riba, لَا يَقُومُونَ, they will not stand, and they will not be able to stand. إلا except like the ones who what يتخبطه الشيطان من المس, except they stand like the ones who are touched by the shaitan, possessed by the devil. Shaitan possessed them. Ibn Taymiyyah took from this. He took from this that there is a connection between haram money and being possessed by the devil. Not only that, the ulama, they went further. They said, riba, why is it that you're standing like one who's been touched by the devil? Because it's haram. So then all other haram actions lead to possession as well. Watching filthy things online lead to possession. Music, brothers, it will lead to possession. It's what? The salt of shaitan. Surah Al-Isra, Allah said it's the salt of shaitan. The Sahaba said it's music. You're listening to music, brothers and sisters. You're listening to shaitan's voice. So shaitan possesses you. You eat haram. You take haram transaction. Shaitan possesses you. You watch filthy things online. When a man is with his wife, he has to make a dua. Allahumma jannibna shaitan. Wa jannibna shaitana mimma razaqtana. Oh Allah, when he's being intimate with his wife, what husband and wife do? At that time, he says, Allah, I seek refuge in you, and me and my wife, we seek refuge in you from shaitan, and even in children that might come from this. Mujahid ibn Jabr rahimahullah ta'ala, who was a student of Ibn Abbas, one of the greatest mufassirin from the tabi'een, if not the greatest, one to explain the Quran. He said, this shows that shaitan, he's there when a husband and wife are with each other being intimate. Because shaitan's filthy, he likes to see this. Not like human beings that like to watch filthy things online. They like to go onto websites and watch filthy things. Shaitan, he likes that. That's why he told you to do it. So he tries to come and watch the husband and wife when they do it. So shaitan is there. So because shaitan is present, the Prophet told you, make this dua to protect yourself from him. They're like, what about the one who's doing it with his girlfriend? What about the one who's watching it filthy online? Shaitan's there with you. The devil is there. And the Prophet said, your iman comes out of your body. So then the shaitan jumps in your body and you're possessed. And then destroys your life. And of course, no one should be here scared of the devil. A'udhu billah. He's weak. He's scared of the believers. When the adhan is gone, what does he do? He runs away farting, the hadith said. He's scared of the adhan. He runs away farting. He's weak. But he's strong over who? Those who are weak in iman. He's strong when your iman is weak. He's weak when your iman is strong. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, brothers and sisters. So that video that you just saw right now, that video was from our Matting in the Masjid project. This is a project that alhamdulillah has been running for a while now. Most importantly, with the permission of Allah, and then of course with the donations that you guys have generously been giving from your own pockets. We've been doing tours up and down the country. We've been doing classes around London. We've been doing mentoring, events, so on and so forth. And the videos are there for everyone to see. Alhamdulillah. We're very clear with how this money is spent, where people, mashallah, have been swarming the masjid, alhamdulillah. Now, in order for us to continue these events and classes and so on and so forth, we do need to continue with the fundraising. That's why we're asking you to help us out. You know, if we can raise the remainder of the funds that we need to raise within the next 2 weeks, that will sort us out very nicely to the end of the summer, inshallah ta'ala. Just to give you a little example of how effective, with the permission of Allah, this program is, just at the last event, one of the brothers came into the masjid with drugs. He had drugs on him in his bag. And after the talk and after the event, came up to Brother Imran, he came up to one of the speakers and said to them, I've been drug dealing for a while. I've got drugs on me. What do I do with them? I really want to change. He ended up throwing the drugs away. And that's just one person. That's just one example. That's just one story. And there's so many more out there. So please, brothers and sisters, donate generously and help us, help the youth, and in turn, help you. Barakallahu feek. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.